Welcome to episode 218 of the Self-Growth Nerds podcast, in which I'm going to share 5 habits that have changed my life. But they're not habits like waking up at 5 a.m. No, I'm not like that. I'm a lazy girl. So they are habits that require very little effort but can make a big difference in your day-to-day life. I sometimes think to myself, why did I not start this earlier? Now, 2 little disclaimers before we dive in. Number 1, don't try to implement all of these habits at once. That's the perfectionist in you. I know, I've been there, but it's gonna get you overwhelmed and paralyzed. So just pick one and give it a try. See what happens. Disclaimer number 2, I'm still in Norway, so this is an episode from about 3 years ago, and I'm bringing it back because these habits are timeless. And because September is coming, and to me, what used to be the start of the school year is always the best moment to implement new habits. All right, hope this is useful. Welcome to the Self-Growth Nerds podcast. I'm your host, Marie, a courage coach, creative soul, and adventure seeker. Since through hiking the Pacific Crest Trail in 2019, I'm on a mission to help you embrace your most confident self so you can achieve your dreams too. If you're eager for deep conversations, big questions, and meaningful connections, join me on the quest to discovering how we can create a more magical and memorable life. Hello, nerds! How are you? I am so good today. I'm doing something a bit different with this episode. I usually go into the depth of your mind and how you feel, and now I want to give you 5 habits that changed my life. So we're not going underneath the surface. I'm going to give you basically life hacks, tips and tricks. That's not usually my jam, but I want to do something different, something more lighthearted. And I think these tips and tricks can have a profound impact on how you think of yourself, how you feel throughout the day, and what you do or don't do, and ultimately the results that you create in your life. So let's jump in. 5 habits that changed my life. Number 1, getting an alarm clock. So I used to take my iPhone in my bedroom because that was my alarm. And so obviously it makes it so easy to end the day scrolling Instagram or Facebook. And whether you like it or not, you might see something that makes you feel envious, that makes you feel sad, that makes you feel like everything that's going on in the world is tragic. And that's how you fall asleep, feeling like other people have a better life than you, or feeling like the apocalypse is coming. That sets you up for nightmares, number 1, and just to wake up feeling heavy. Instead, now I don't have an excuse. I leave my phone on the kitchen table. I plug it in, leave it on the kitchen table at like 10. And my alarm clock is there to wake me up in the morning. And this makes it so much easier for me to end my day with me. To end my day doing something that matters more to me than scrolling and making myself feel anxious. I read. I either journal or I read books. And, my intention before I had an alarm clock was also to read, and I sometimes would, but when the phone is right there at arm's length, of course, like our brain seeks dopamine, and our phone gives us that dopamine, that reward of like, I wonder what's going on Instagram, and then you check, and there's you get a boost of dopamine in your brain, and that's more addictive than reading, So I just set myself up for success by leaving the phone in another room. And so that makes it super easy for me to just pick up my book and stay engaged in the book instead of like flinching and wanting to check my texts. That, or if I'm not engaged by the book, I just fall asleep earlier. And let me tell you what, since I started doing this, I have a much easier time waking up in the morning. And I feel so much more joyous when I wake up. Like, I surprised myself the other day because we woke up and then Ollie left to go to work and I was alone at home and I was going, good morning, good morning. Just picture this. That's how I used to be. That's how my mom used to be when I was a kid, I remember. And I had kind of lost that without really noticing. And I was pretty groggy and heavy in the morning. And sometimes I still am. But still, in general, I just feel so much lighter when I do this. And I also try, not perfect, but I also try in the morning not to check my phone first thing. It's easier because it's not right there on my nightstand, and also when I go to make my coffee in the kitchen, it's there on the counter. I try to like read a book or listen to a podcast or do a puzzle before I look at my phone. But I'm gonna be honest, sometimes I can't resist, and that's okay because we're human. But still, there's a massive progress. And, you know, I don't want you, when I'm sharing these habits, to should yourself, to say, oh, I should do this too. Maybe that's not your fight right now. Maybe you've got a lot going on and that's not what you want to work on. Okay? Don't force yourself into a quote unquote healthy habit. I want you to decide to do this from a place of love, self-love. Like, oh, yes, I love myself so much. I want this for myself. I want to end the day with my books. I want to feel lighter in the morning. And this is what I'm willing to do right now. From that place, rather than shit like, let me fix myself. You don't have to fix yourself. This is not why I'm sharing those habits. You are perfect as you are. And I want these habits to just be inspiration for you that you can take or leave. And if you decide to take them, do so from a playful place of let's try it and see. Okay, like an experiment, like a science experiment. Not like I'm broken and I need to fix myself and maybe this will help me put myself back together. That's not the point. Okay, and before we move on to habit number 2, I want to tell you about my alarm clock because I'm kind of in love. Okay, I found it on Amazon. I wrote kids alarm clocks because I think adult alarm clocks are boring to me. So I found this cute alarm clock that's called Miko Dream Kids, and it has faces, guys. When there's a vibration, it just lights up and it makes faces. Sometimes it sends me a heart, and you can choose the ringtone that's going to wake you up. You can be awoken by a dog barking at you. I don't know why anyone would want that. But yeah, there's like some cute little songs that you can choose. And what's really funny is that the way to snooze is to shake the alarm. So you have to like grab it and shake it. That makes me laugh. And what else? It tells you the temperature in the room. I'm not sure that's super useful, but it does. And there's a button with a light. It's got 2 little ears, right? It's a ball, a white ball. And it's got 2 little ears and a button, and you can the ears can light up. And it looks really simple and nice and cute. And I think that's it. I think I've covered it. Sounds like I've been hired as an ambassador to sell it. No, I haven't. I just really love my cute little alarm clock. What's annoying though is that when you move in bed at night and it feels the vibration, it lights up. It's like, oh, she probably wants to know what time is it. Let me show her. Okay, enough. You go find your own alarm clock that fits your needs and your aesthetic preferences. Okay, habit number 2 that changed my life is preparing food ahead of time. Now, I'm not talking about meal prep. I'm really not your meal prep kind of gal. I'm your eat healthy, but lazy kind of person. So what I started doing is first, this habit evolved. Okay, the part one of this habit is I created a sheet that I put on my fridge that says, 2 sheets actually. The first one says, easy, healthy meals you can make. And then there's like a few different things for breakfast, lunch, and dinner that are super simple, because sometimes my brain just can't think like, what can I just can't come up with ideas. So there they are, ideas for each meal on the fridge. And then next to it is a sheet that says items to have in the fridge at all times. So when I started doing this, I would just take a photo of that sheet, and every time I would go grocery shopping, I would buy the same elements. So then you don't have to make decisions. That's the point. It's kind of like Steve Jobs wearing jeans and a black turtleneck every day, because he doesn't have to make decisions, and that frees up brain space. It's the same deal. I didn't have to make decisions. Now, this habit has evolved where I go grocery shopping on the Sunday or the Monday, and I buy salad. So I buy kale or lettuce and a bunch of vegetables, and then right after I've bought them, I cut them all up. Basically, put a podcast on, grab a knife, a cutting board, cut everything up, and then I have all the vegetables cut up together in a bowl and all the salad cut up in a different bowl. And so every day at lunch, I can just grab a handful of salad, put it in a bowl, grab a spoonful of cut up vegetables, put it on top, and then I squash half an avocado on top and put some dressing, and that's it. And my lunch is done in like 3.5 minutes, ready to eat. That for me saves my life, because otherwise what happens is I don't like to cook. And so I'm like working, I'm busy, and I'm hungry, but I don't know. I have some overwhelm. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to eat. Sounds complicated. And so I would just not eat, or I would eat something that's not really good for me. And that in the long term would have an impact on my energy and my mood. And I would feel it. I would get like grumpy. So now I just don't have to think. I know, all week long, there's my big salad that I can make in 3 minutes. That saves me so much time and energy, and it makes me feel good. I put nuts on top as well. Not nuts, pumpkin seeds. But all of these things change depending on like what I feel inspired by when I go grocery shopping. But the only commitment that I have to make in my week is that 1 hour and a half. Could even be 1 hour if you're really good with a knife. But I'm like a 7-year-old with a knife. I'm not great. That hour and a half where you go get the ingredients, you cut them up while you listen to a podcast or an audiobook or something, and then it's ready. And if I work from home, so it's easy. If you go to work, you can bring these 2 big bowls at the start of the week. Hopefully there's a fridge at your workplace where you can store these. Or you can, make it every morning. That adds a layer of work, but still, you can find your own way. The idea is like being your best friend, preparing, like knowing that you don't like to cook if you're like me, but that you do care about eating healthy, nurturing yourself. It's not a weight thing or anything for me. It's just, I want to feel good in my body. I want to feel good in my skin. And for that, I need to eat nourishing foods. So yeah, being a best friend to myself and being like, I know how I am, and therefore, here's how I'm going to set myself up for success. I'm going to take an hour and a half out of my time, again, from a place of, I love myself. And that's why I want to do this. That's why I'm willing to do this on the Sunday, just so that I can feel better at the end of the week. Now, habit number 3, archive all of your emails. So you might have 2,000 emails, unread emails in your inbox. That's who I used to be. I don't remember how many there were. And just seeing that red dot on your phone or that number in your inbox, you might not notice, but unconsciously it drains you. because every time your part of you like goes, oh, that's a lot. It's kind of like if you had a bunch of crap in your home in the corner of the living room. You try not to notice all the crap, but part of your brain's like, if that was empty space, it would free up space in your mind. My mom always told me when I was a kid, tidy bedroom, tidy mind. It's the same thing with your inbox. And if you have a job that's on the computer, you see your inbox every day, so you want it to feel spacious. And the easy way to do that is not to go through all of these emails, is to archive all of them. And there's an easy way to do that. If you have Gmail, just write in Google how to archive all old emails and reach inbox 0. There's an article that comes up. If you have a different email provider, I'm sure you can figure it out as well. So you don't lose these emails. You just archive them. They tell you like how to select them all and like turn them so that they are read. And then now that you've selected them all, turn them as read, you archive them, and then you start from 0. Okay. And if you feel anxious about missing out on something and dropping a ball, just decide, okay, I'm going to go through the emails from the last month, but everything before that, I'm going to archive. And suddenly your inbox is going to get so much lighter. And from there, it becomes so much easier to start creating the habit of sitting and cleaning up the inbox every other day, however you want to do it. This is going to take you just a few minutes, and it's going to save you so much heartache. For me, it gave me clarity. It gave me lightheartedness. And you know what? If you forget to answer someone, if what they want from you is truly, truly important, they're going to reach back. It's okay to drop some balls here and there. And what really is meant for you is going to come back to you. That's what I believe. And feel free to borrow that belief. It's saved me a lot of trouble and worry. Okay, habit number 4, setting a financial date with yourself. Every month, I do it every month. First week of the month, it takes between 1 and 2 hours maximum. Okay? Sometimes I even do it in 15 minutes and I'm like, ooh, badass. You're getting good at this. Yeah. So in your bank website, whatever it is, they probably have an option. For me, it's called budget. So it classifies all of my expenses. And I can go through and verify if they've categorized them well and make a few tweaks. And so it tells me, okay, here's how much you've spent on restaurants. Here's how much you've spent on groceries. And I have a Google sheet in which I input this information for every month. So there's a tab in my Google sheet for every month. And I write, okay, here's how much I spent on gas. Here's how much I spent on restaurants. And it sounds really boring, right? It does. And I never want to sit down and do it. But I'm always so grateful that I did, because it makes me feel empowered. It takes me out of a state of mind that's overwhelmed and confused. If I want to make a decision, can I afford to do X, Y, and Z? I'm like, oh, I don't know. But when you know exactly how much you're making and how much money you need in order to live, to cover your basic expenses every month, it allows you to make much more enlightened decisions. I'm going to give you 2 examples. Let's say you're like, okay, I want to quit my job and focus on my freelancing clients. But you think, I can't do this, I'm never going to be able to pay the bills. Then I would ask you, okay, how much money do you need to make per month in order to cover your basic expenses? You might tell me, I'm just going to give you a random number. You might tell me $2,000. Okay, you need $2,000. Now, how much do you charge your freelancing clients? You might say to me, I charge them $1,000. Okay, so then you need to find 2 clients per month. If you're going to quit your job, you need to find 2 clients per month in order to cover your expenses. Now, how can you do this? And then we would come up with ideas. See how knowing your numbers allows you to consider your real options instead of turning in circles of confusion. Makes things seem more attainable, more manageable. Allows you to start making a plan. Another example is, let's say you want to be able to buy a home in 3 years. And so okay, in order to buy a home, I'm going to need approximately this amount of money. So you can sit down and think, okay, so I make 4,000 in a month and my expenses are 2,000. And so right now I'm able to put aside 2,000 every month. And how long is it going to take me to reach the number that I need to buy a home? It's going to take me 10 years. Well, I don't want to buy a home in 10 years. I want to buy it in 3 years. Okay, so what do I need to do? Do I need to ask for a raise? Do I need to start a side business to figure out another way to make extra income? How can I approach this? You're more resourced when you know the math. Okay? And my coach, one of my mentors, Brooke Castillo, she says, figure out the difference between the math and the drama. So when you say, oh, I want to buy a house, but I don't make enough money, that's the drama. That's useless. You want to sit down and figure out the math instead of swimming in the drama. That's going to give you so much more power, and it's going to allow you to see what works and what doesn't work. And you know what? It's going to make you feel much more legitimate in asking for a raise. If you're like, well, actually, I want a home in 3 years. It's important to me. And so I'm going to ask for a raise. Or if that's not possible where you work, I'm going to find a different job, or I'm going to, whatever it is that you decide to do, you take the power back instead of letting external circumstances dictate what you can or cannot do. Okay, I love how this was supposed to be like a 5 tips and tricks, and it's turning into this whole thing. Love it. And one more thing I'm gonna share about this financial date before we move on is if you're like the kind of person who doesn't have the internal motivation to sit down and do it, you know yourself, you know it's gonna be hard. That's okay. That's completely fine. We're all different. If you know that you're the kind of person who needs external motivators, figure it out. Ask yourself, how can I set myself up for success for this to happen? If you are motivated by other people, maybe ask your partner or a friend of yours, would it be okay if once a month we sit down together and look at our finances? Maybe you have a friend of yours that also wants to do this and you can keep each other accountable. Or maybe if you're motivated by rewards, you give yourself a reward every time you do it. Whatever it is, maybe you get to open, there's like this special bottle of wine that you get to open when you do it. Get creative, find what works for you. Okay? None of these habits are things that you should make yourself do. It's figure out how it can be playful, how you can integrate them playfully into your life. Okay, last habit that changed my life is recurring tasks. So using a digital calendar, I use Google Cal, okay? And well, first of all, using a digital calendar is amazing for me. I used to have a paper planner. Even before the paper planner, I had just a to-do list, and now it's improved my organization because, for example, if I have a meeting or a call with someone, I never get confused with time zones because it just syncs it up properly. And also when I have a task coming up or a meeting coming up, I get a notification on my phone 10 minutes before. So sometimes, I've been doing something recently, I'm working on my puzzle and my phone just vibrates and I'm like, oh, what is it? I look and it's like, oh, you have a call in 10 minutes. And oh, shit. Okay. I need to go put some clothes on. And this is what a digital calendar, basically just the idea of the digital calendar has changed my life. And one thing specifically that I really love with Google Cal, and you probably can do that with all the calendars, is at the top of a day, you can add a task. You can like click at the top of the day and it says add title and time. You add whatever it is you need to do, click on task, and then you can decide, is this just a one-off thing, or does it happen every week, or does it happen every 2 weeks? And for me, there are these tasks that always come back, just like the financial date. And I don't want to have to think about it every week or every month. So I put them in my calendar. I'm going to write financial date, task, and then I'm going to write repeat every month, first week of the month. You can customize the recurring tasks. And so every month I'm going to see in my calendar financial date. And I'm like, oh yeah, right. I needed to do this. And whatever it is that I need to do every week, like I just take it out of my brain because it's taking space in my brain. Like it's work to remember these things. It's labor. Take it out of my brain and outsource it to my calendar. My calendar takes care of it. And for the whole year, it tells me, remember, every other Friday, you have to do this. Every Friday, you have to schedule your podcast into Simplecast. And so I don't have to think about it because my calendar tells me. It's like my assistant. I don't need to pay. It's free. Free assistant. Who wouldn't want that? That just frees up so much space in my brain. Okay, so let's summarize. The 5 habits that changed my life are, number 1, having an alarm clock so that I don't depend on my phone and I can not fall into the rabbit hole of scrolling Instagram before bed or when I wake up first thing in the morning. Number 2, preparing healthy food ahead of time. Preparing like everything I need to make like a quick 3-minute lunch that's delicious and nourishing ahead of time. That takes an hour and a half in a week. An hour if you're good with a knife. And number 3, that's a weird thing to say if you're good with a knife. And number 3, archive all of your emails so you can get to inbox 0 and start fresh. Number 4, set up a financial date with yourself or with someone else every month so that you know where the money's coming in from, where it's going out, and you have more power over the flow of your money so that money doesn't dictate, so that money is not in charge of you, so that you are in charge of your money. One thing I forgot to tell you about that is one thing that's going to be really important there, really important, is whatever you see in your bank account doesn't mean anything about you. If you make it mean something about you, like, oh shit, yeah, I'm bad with money, I'm not making enough, like I should be ashamed, you're never going to want to sit down and do it. If you're being an asshole to yourself, you're not going to want to do it, and it's just going to make it worse. You're going to want to put your hand in the sand and live in denial, and you're not going to get out of the place that you're in. So you want to be able to just see the place that you're in neutrally. Like, these are just numbers. Money is neutral. You want to be able to see it neutrally, and you might need help to do that. I do a lot of that with my clients, coach them on seeing their circumstances neutrally so that they can regain their power. Because if you make it mean all of these awful things about yourself, if you blame your past, if you think I should have known these things, I should have made better decisions, you're not going to be able to sit, look at your numbers and make decisions. You're going to get lost in the drama. So don't make it mean anything about yourself. And I know that it's easier said than done, but it's possible. And if you need help, reach out. And lastly, the last habit that changed my life is using a digital calendar, and especially the recurring task feature to get those out of my mind. Those tasks that always come back out of my mind and into my free personal assistant. So this is it for this week. I hope this was useful. Please reach out to me if you decide to adopt any of these habits and tell me how they also change your life. And don't forget that you've got to do this from a place of self-love, not from a place of I need to fix myself, okay? You are not allowed, I'm not giving you permission to use these habits against yourself, okay? It's like, yeah, okay, let's try them and see what happens. Let's get curious. Let's figure out what works for me. Let's take this as inspiration and craft your own way forward. I love you all, and I will talk to you next week. Bye! You just listened to the Self-Growth Nerds podcast. Make sure to subscribe and to find me on Instagram at Self-Growth Nerds. If you want individual help developing the confidence to create a more meaningful and exciting life, visit selfgrowthnerds.com today to learn how. Finally, I want to thank my friend Etienne Galano for editing this, and I want to thank you, kind-hearted souls, for growing into your truest, most courageous selves every day and making this world a better, more beautiful place. My name is Marie, and I will talk to you next week.